Hey guys, welcome back to Dragon Ball Daily Draw and Review, the show where I, a lifelong Dragon Ball fan, attempt to read, watch, and review every chapter, episode, and movie in the Dragon Ball franchise in the order it was originally released in Japan. I'm Philip, and today we're discussing Dragon Ball Manga Chapter 5, titled Oolong Appears, which, according to the website Kanzenshu, was originally published in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine December 21st, 1984, written and drawn by series creator Akira Toriyama. After several chapters focusing solely on Goku and Bulma, with a stray character or two thrown in to stir the pot, this chapter blows up by introducing an entire village worth of characters, each with their own unique design, personality, and relationship to the story. There's an almost mathematical approach to the way Toriyama designs his characters. No two look the same or occupy the same space. And while each character design stands out, the rustic American setting for this town unifies them all as one community. Everyone here is either a cowboy, an Indian, or a farmhand. And then when you include the villain for this chapter, who has 4 different character designs in this chapter alone, Toriyama is just showing off. Now, speaking of the villain, Goku and Bulma arrive in this village full of people hiding from the local monster, a huge devil named Oolong, who has already kidnapped multiple young girls and claimed to have made them his wives. Pay attention to that word and all the different meanings of it, because the next chapter, Toriyama is going to play with your expectations with all of that. Turns out one of the old ladies in town is in possession of a Dragon Ball, which is what led our heroes here in the first place. Bulma, taking all this information in an instant, has a spur-of-the-moment idea to use Goku, have him dress up like one of the girls, and send him off to rescue the others in exchange for said Dragon Ball. So here we are, 5 chapters in, and we've jumped around from epic fantasy story set somehow simultaneously in the past and the future, to an episode of The Odd Couple, to a fetch quest in a video game, to one of those like twisted fairy tales turned on their head, and now we're just in a straight up episode of DuckTales. Or I guess I should say an Uncle Scrooge comic, since Dragon Ball predates DuckTales. Side note though, seriously, if you haven't read any Carl Barks, the creator of Uncle Scrooge, and you love Dragon Ball, go find some of his Uncle Scrooge comics from the 1950s. They're amazing, the exact same vibe as early Dragon Ball. Now, the fact that Bulma's plan involves Goku wearing a dress and pretending to be a little girl feels less like an airtight Ocean's 11 scheme and more like her just getting him back for all the crap he's put her through in the last few chapters. I actually really like this idea because it makes it seem more like Bulma is finally getting her due in a narrative sense, but it also makes me feel like she's finally getting a handle on her relationship with Goku. But I also think there's a little more to it than that. It feels a little like Toriyama knowing when to change things up when it's getting stale. So, like, for example, if you have too many chapters set in isolated places, let's set the next chapter in a crowded town. Let's have it last a couple of chapters so you can get the most out of those character designs. Too many instances of Goku humiliating Bulma. Let's flip the script and have Bulma humiliate Goku for a couple of chapters. Again, you get this, it's the mathematics of storytelling. Toriyama is a master at this. So the terrifying giant Oolong arrives, and in classic Hollywood cross-dressing movie from the 1940s fashion, he immediately falls in love with girl Goku. Apparently, Oolong can transform, and so he transforms from a giant Oni-style demon into a handsome guy who, again, looks like he's straight out of an old Hollywood movie. Looks like Clark Gable or somebody, in order to woo girl Goku. Which, of course, prompts Bulma to blow the whole scheme to hell by jumping out and putting the moves on handsome Oolong. I mean, she almost came out ahead this week. Toriyama does this. He likes to give his characters what I call plot allergies. They're things that always trip a character up, so you can use them, pull them out when he needs them to tank a plan or up the stakes in the fight. This is like something you'll see later in the series. Goku, whenever he gets hungry, he loses his power and he can't fight anymore. And so, again, Toriyama can just bust that out whenever Goku's got the stakes in the fight aren't high enough or he's coming out too far ahead. Just have him get hungry, and then all of a sudden he loses the fight. So it turns out Bulma's plot allergy, at least for this chapter, and a couple of others over the course of the series, is that she goes full on Master Roshi whenever she sees a guy she considers hot. Now, while Oolong is trying to decide between the young girl and the older chick, side note, evidently 16-year-old Bulma is older than this Oolong monster, which should tell you something interesting is up. Again, Toriyama playing with expectations. While Oolong is trying to decide, Goku sneaks off to pee. But he still pees like a boy. He just drops his pants and pisses in a corner. Oolong walks over to figure out how this girl is doing that, and unfortunately, to his mind, spots Goku's male appendage. He loses his mind and transforms into a giant, threatening bull, threatening to go wild and destroy the town. To be precise, Oolong doesn't seem to be so mad about having been lied to. He's more mad about having to see another boy's dick. Again, it's kind of like plot allergies. Oolong has this extreme phobia of other boys' bodies. It feels like Oolong's got a lot going on. Anyway, Bulma snaps out of it when Oolong transforms. She runs to hide in the house and yells to Goku to just go ahead, kick Oolong's ass, and then make him tell us where he's been keeping the girls. To which a delighted Goku screams, I mean, we should have done that to start with. Setting up the fight for next chapter, which I now realize this whole crazy plan was simply in service of delaying that fight till next chapter. So, well done, Toriyama. But more on that next time. Thanks so much for listening along, gang. This is the last episode of the first week, and I'm really glad to have made it this far, and I'm especially grateful to those of you who have been here during this first week and have been following along. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, requests, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think, and I'll be happy to reply. If you've been enjoying the show, be sure to like and subscribe to keep up. The plan is to post a new video every weekday. It's going to take us around 65 chapters or so before the anime would debut in Japan. And then after that, we'll be alternating between them, exploring how each one influences the other. And eventually we'll be tossing the movies in there, corresponding to when those were released in relation to the other two. So be sure to stick around. And if you really, really like the show, you can buy me a coffee, which I keep calling Senzu Beans because I simply haven't thought of a better joke yet. Big debt of thanks to the Kanzenshu website for the publication dates. Also to fellow YouTuber Mystair Fusion and their Dragon Ball dissection videos. And the Star Wars Minute podcast who gave me the idea for doing a daily video series like this. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you back here next week for Manga Chapter 6 on Dragon Ball Daily Draw and Review.